And I see we've got our
Yes,
other guest.
you have got our other guest there. That is Nala. She will be joining
Oh,
us. She loves a watch.
okay.
Nala,
I
what's your favorite
love it.
watch? Yeah, I agree. She's an RM. She loves her RMs.
I can see that. I can definitely see that. The cool part is my first call of the day is talking about watches and getting to meet you and know you a little bit in person. So it's not bad.
100%. I know Keith and the team over at Observe speak really highly of you. So, yeah, it's great to connect regardless. We've done quite a bit of work with you. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
obviously from a podcast perspective, but from an executive search perspective as well. So we brought Irina to the organization, some of the early stage marketing and, people like that. So, yeah, great team. How are you finding it?
There we go. There we go. I'm
Tough.
loving it.
You're
I'm
loving
loving
it.
it.
It's tough, but
Yeah, I mean, I think any company that's worth being at, right?
mm,
It's challenging. It's
mm,
supposed to be challenging, but this is my first startup and I'm now 6, 7 months in. So, the
right.
honeymoon period, fleeted away probably a while ago. But
Yeah.
if this is what it's like being at a smaller organization,
Yeah. You made for it.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
Then this is
Yeah.
exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Well, the thing is, you're quite lucky, right? Because it's not your typical startup. You've got an experienced CEO in Jeremy Burton. You've got Keith Butler, who is probably one of the most genuine people on this planet, and especially, having spent lots of time with many of the CROs within this playbook community. He is really one of the good guys, and his reputation across that alumni group of CROs. He is an exceptional leader, and everybody really respects him. And it's been a tough gig getting product market fit, but you are going over after a very, very, very big kind of existing legacy play, and it's going to take work. If it could be disrupted easily, everybody or somebody would have done it, to now. So
I hope you read the part of the one pager which says if you drink, I drink, but dear God, don't make me do that at 8 in the morning when I have like a full front loaded schedule. So
no,
I'm
no.
sticking I'm sticking to coffee today. But
No, I like that. I like that. We have contemplated that ourselves. I think that it brings a new dynamic to a podcast for sure. But no, I'm on a fitness regime. Funny enough, I've just, Parmu Pal.
no, I don't.
I should get you introduced. You should talk to him. He's a big watch guy. He was the VP of West at App Dynamics. After App Dynamics, he went and he was the CRO at Data Robot.
Okay.
He's now at Benchling as the CRO. He's a phenomenally well connected individual. He loves his watches, so you should definitely. I'll get you introduced because he would be like a great asset.
I love it.
The other
Sounds like
one
my type of person.
you should speak to as well. Do you know Alex Verrill?
That sounds familiar, but
He's
I
at
don't think
he's
I
at
know
Cerebras
them.
now. He was the VP of Americas over at Zscaler. He was at Dynamics before that, but
Okay.
his watch collection is off the chart. He's off the chart.
Oh,
So
say no more. Yeah, yeah.
two
Please.
big
These would
CROs
be
that have got a good following as well.
that'd be great.
How do you find though? Because the thing is, as I said, the watch talk is like, my reluctance to come on this podcast, as I said, was, is it showy? I didn't want to be seen to be, oh yeah, look at me and my watches. I don't
It's
know.
when I put together what I wanted this show to be, it almost did come back to like a little bit of an element of show and tell.
Right.
But then again, I think with people who like really just enjoy the passion of watches, they look at them as art. Maybe there's a collecting element to it. It's almost less so about the watch and a little bit more about just their own style preferences, how their tastes have developed, where
Yeah.
they get watches. Those are some of the clips like people are tell me they're really fascinated about.
Yeah.
Some people still like learn things about watches or a brand that they didn't know because whoever I have on the show is either really deep into a brand.
Mm.
Paul Cap, for
Yeah. Yeah.
example, has really begun his Vacheron journey.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like we
yeah.
talked about
Yeah.
that, you know. So that's what I think gets exciting about it.
That's not a
And then
brand I
me,
know a huge amount about, to be honest with you. I see it popping up on the chronos and the different auction sites that I watch, but again, yeah, I've never really looked into it too much, to be honest.
yeah. And I see we've got our
Yes,
other guest.
you have got our other guest there. That is Nala. She will be joining
No.
us. She loves a watch.
Okay.
Nala,
I
what's your favorite
love it.
watch? Yeah, I agree. She's an RM. She loves her RMs.
I can see that. I can definitely see that. Has Nala ever made it to a Hunters and Unicorn episode?
She has, yeah. She's a couple of
Okay.
times. Yeah,
Okay.
she's starred on it a few times. She's normally there. She's
Okay.
the company mascot, to say the least.
Okay. That's awesome. Well, I guess on the quick
Mm,
topic of Hunters and Unicorns, how I heard about you, and obviously I've seen a lot of your podcast episodes and all the clips that come out. But for people who are going to listen to Watch the Tech who don't know, Hunters and Unicorns is a fantastic podcast all about interviewing great tech leaders, learning and stealing their secrets so other
mm,
people like myself can shamelessly copy them and get inspired. And 200 plus episodes and a
yeah.
million plus streams and listens, like those are just like I
Thank you.
aspire to have numbers like that. That's awesome. On the watch front, like
Mm,
you gave me some background of where your start to the hobby, the addiction, you know, whatever
mm.
you want to call it, started. But for my listeners, would you mind kind of sharing like what was the watch and who was the person
Yeah.
that turned Ollie into the secret
The
watch
secret.
nut, where only someone who likes watches would notice from watching Hunters and Unicorns, because you see your wrist and you're like, oh, that one's different. Oh,
Yeah.
wait a sec, that one's different too.
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
It's funny that, isn't it? Because you look at, you look and not necessarily you judge somebody by their watch, but at the same time, if you see somebody wearing a nice watch, you do kind of start to build a story of what you perceive that person or what interests they may be into as well. So yeah, I totally hear you on that. So yeah, in answer to your question, I posed the enjoyment of watches came to me when I was given my grandfather's watch, which was a Rolex Datejust 36. It was a 1976. Originally, it came with the, I think it's a crocodile or a leather strap. And this one actually had the presidential strap on it. And so I got given that watch. I knew about Rolex. I knew about it. I knew it was a prestige brand. I always used to look at him when he wore it. And then and this is really where I started to invest more time in looking at watches and kind of like the history of watches, because what I did is that it was all scratched. It was looking tired. It was looking worn. I
looking
thought, do you know
tired.
what?
Okay,
I know, yeah. And I thought, I'm going to send it off to Rolex and have it serviced. And obviously, those that know, you send anything off to Rolex, they have to anything if there's a brittle face in it, if there's anything that could damage the mechanics in it, they will replace it. And so in short, they strip this watch of every single part of its character and its kind of all its stylized character. And as I said, they even so they stripped the face, put a new face on it, put new dials on it, and they didn't put the same face because obviously it was an older face. They had put a new face in it,
I
so
feel
it
like you're
ended.
describing like Los Angeles plastic surgery to me.
But that's it, isn't it? It's exactly that.
Yeah. Yeah, like its soul is just being facelifted off of the watch. You sent me some before pictures and after pictures, so
Yeah,
I'll have to include those in the episode too, but
please,
yeah.
please. But the other thing with it as well is because the strap wasn't the original strap, they sent it back to me with the crocodile leather strap that came with it, but they kept the presidential strap, which I don't know how many grams of gold that is in 24 karat gold or whatever gold it is, but they kept it. And I was just like, can I have that back? Because that's worth a lot of money. And so I went with this backwards and forwards, and respect to Rolex, they ended up sending back the strap as well. So, but at the same time, be careful. Anything that you do send back, they have the rights to keep.
I
You
didn't
know?
know that. That's good to know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
anything that's not original on it, it's Yeah, they keep it.
Yeah. So it came from your grandfather. Was
Mm.
he a watch collector himself, or was this like the one?
Yeah, I think to be honest with you, I don't know. So he didn't have lots of watches. He was a collector at heart. So his big thing was collecting stamps. So that was probably more his hobby from a collection perspective. But yeah, no, he wasn't really into it. But the bit that really kind of then got me the hook is that when I then decided to wear it, and I thought, oh look, this looks lovely. It looks beautiful now. It's, you know, something that I'd wear because it's more modern or what have you. And then it was only really 6 or 12 months after that, you know, I spoke to one of my friends and they said, oh, you got a new watch. Showed him the watch. And they were like, oh, that's really nice. What was it? And they said, it's a new date just. I said, no, it's actually 1976. And I literally saw his jaw drop. And it was like, what have you done to that watch? You've probably just decreased the value and every sentimental part of that watch. And so at that point, I was like, okay, I now need to pay more attention to this. Yeah, that's the point of then doing some more research and just kind of digging into the world of Rolexes.
Just the fact it was your grandfather's was probably pretty special.
Exactly.
Sadly, I don't really have any cool watches from my family line that I'll ever get. My first guest was my loving father. He was kind of coerced, and he like rocks a Timex, and he is so proud of it. And he has like he has like 10 in his closet. So when the
Right.
battery dies, he just pulls the next one
Straight
out.
in. Yeah.
And so I'm like, ah, cool. I stand to inherit some used Timexes. So that's great. So let's just imagine for a second, Ollie, you get to pick the brand and they get to make you like what you think your perfect watch should be. What do you think goes into that?
Good question. Why do I have that much? See, when I buy a watch, I look at the watch and I like it because it goes with the style of stuff that I wear. And so I don't think I've got that much of a creative mind to actually think, you know, what would I piece together, you know, because I think what I would choose is probably what I own, which is very rose gold orientated. It's very dark faced orientated. It's rubber straps because I find them comfortable. I think you can kind of, you know, wear them, you know, with, you know, anything at any time. It makes it sporty. So yeah, I don't know. See, as I said, yeah, I don't know. What about you? What's your combination?
Yeah, I mean, you have those are great elements. I'm gonna have
Mm.
to ask in a second if you have one of those ideal watches near you. For me, my ideal watch is. I mean, if I was able to like pick a brand or have them create it for me, it would probably be either Moser, Audemars Piguet, or
Hmm.
probably Patek. One of them would get the contract, the very exclusive contract to
Yeah.
build me the perfect watch. Um, it would be, I'm more partial to like white metals, so like maybe a little bit of a darker titanium or stainless steel. I am a time only guy.
Right.
I love time only. It just, I feel like it leaves space
Yeah. Yeah.
on the dial. It gets to breathe versus any complication. So I really enjoy that. And like, I have my phone for the day if I really need it, but I actually desperately always need my watch for the time. Meetings, travel, things. I love being punctual. The watch helps with that genuinely. So time
Yeah.
only. I love Loom. Huge fan of Loom. Reminds me of like the stars on my ceiling when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so there's that playful element I would want in there. Now, I would also want an amazing exhibition case back in there. And I'm really into the Vacheron. They have this peripheral
Right.
rotor
Right.
that just looks so cool. So big finishing guy. That
Yeah.
would be an awesome element to have in the back. Most of the time, those peripheral rotors are only if there's like a tourbillon
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
so it would
Yeah.
make no sense to have in
Yeah.
this watch, but I
Yeah.
don't care. It'd be in there because it's mine. You know,
Why
it's
not?
mine.
You're making your own watch.
Absolutely, absolutely. What do you have on the wrist today, if you don't mind sharing?
Well, I've literally just finished the gym, so I live in my Apple Watch. But my two favorite watches. So I've always been a big Daytona fan. So I love the Daytona with the sundusk face.
Could you bring
Again,
that a little bit closer? Oh, okay.
sorry, I can't see me.
Oh, I
Yeah,
love that.
But my favorite and what I wear all the time is,
The
again,
Yacht Master. Let's go.
exactly the 40. Is the new size 41? Is that this is the 40? Have they now changed it into the 41 to follow the
They might have updated.
they might have
I'll have
updated.
to fact check.
Fact
I'll have to
check that,
fact
as I
check.
said, but that is what I will wear all the time. I think it's a really comfortable watch. I think it's a little bit understated to some degree. Not that rose gold is, but
Yeah. The
yeah,
Oyster
it's a
Flex.
comfortable.
Yeah, the Oyster Flex, it strips away kind of some of that very high gloss that you would normally get. I'm
Yeah.
actually wearing one of my Rolexes today, and like the date just,
41 is
it,
that? Or is
it
that 36?
shines. This is a 36. Yeah,
That's
this is
36.
the palm
Nice.
green
Love
dial.
that. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the olives and the greens as well. I think as a watch, as you said, you just mentioned John Mayer. What is it? The 41 date just John Mayer with the rose gold and green face.
Oh yeah,
Is that John Mayer?
that's a Daytona.
Is it a Daytona?
Yeah, that's a Daytona. I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah,
I might
hell
need
of a
to check
watch.
that one.
Yeah, oh yeah, you might. That on a rubber strap would actually probably be pretty
Oh,
cool and
is it? You're
interesting.
right. I take it back. You're totally right. It is.
Yeah,
It's the yellow, gold, and green face, isn't it?
right. And it wasn't even that popular of a watch. And then of
Yeah.
course, like he gets photographed with it a couple times, and now everyone
Yeah. I don't actually
wants
know
one.
the. I don't actually know the story of that. And so, is it just that he was just an iconic person? I know he's obviously a massive watch. I don't know. What was the story with John Mayer?
I think the TLDR is
Right.
he was getting into watches. He saw it. He just thought this is a future classic. So he bought it for himself. I think he wore it a lot
Right.
at the time. Then it just it became synonymous with John Mayer, and then I think the rest was kind of history. Who knows how often
Yeah.
he even wears it though, now that he has his watch with AP purpose built
Yeah. Yeah.
for him.
Yeah. That's
You know.
that's the next level, isn't it? Or the APs and the Patek Philippe's. I think if I think about it, you asked me the question of what my dream watch was. I absolutely love the Nautilus, full rose gold. What is it? The 5980 is it? Which is the chronograph one.
Well, when you start getting into serial numbers, that's
Yeah.
the next
That's
level
the
of
that's the
watch
one that I'll have on
collecting.
my desktop and think, do you know what, one day that will happen. But I think the only way I'll ever get there is by having to sell all of my watches to actually get that one watch. I like having the variety. So I don't know if I could
Yeah.
just end up with one watch, or I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to
Well,
or Hunters and Unicorns is gonna have to do very well. in order to get
yeah.
there.
Yeah. Well, first I want to commend you on the Yacht Master. I think that is a beautiful, beautiful watch. And so just comfortable, and it's a tool, it's a machine
Mm.
as well. You can really wear it everywhere. My first Rolex was a Yacht Master. And actually, before I left Mongo, I did a sales spiff on my team for $5,000 self-funded from me to my best rep.
Oh wow.
And my rep who got it, Dan, he took the 5K, he added some additional of his own cash, and he picked up the Yacht Master, the 40 millimeter Yacht Master with the sunburst blue dial.
Love that watch.
It's the Yachtmaster family to me it's actually a
Mm.
very special one, because it's such a departure from
Yeah.
a Submariner, but it has the DNA of being a very rugged, useful watch, but you really can dress it up, dress it down in ways that I think the Submariner you just can't.
I agree. Totally
Yeah.
agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
As I said, I see I think one of the watches that I've always looked at, and I think, do you know what? If I had an endless amount of money, and it would be a nice option. I do like the Hulk, though. I think as a watch, I think it's a standout, and I'm pleased that it's now come back into a reasonably priced, or back down to being reasonably priced at the moment. So
Yeah.
which would be nice. But it's interesting because my second watch that I got for really got me into kind of like starting a collection per se was interesting. I share this story because of the short story you've just shared. Was my first recruitment job working for a company called Stott and May, top billers. In perm and in contract, each got given a watch allowance, and I got the Blue Sea. I think it was a 1990.
Okay.
Which is the Submariner blue face, bimetal golden steel band, which was a lovely watch.
Yeah. Yeah. Is the bezel blue of that
Bezel's
one as
blue.
well?
Yeah.
Okay, bezel's
Oh
blue.
no, bezel. Is the bezel?
Do you still have that watch
Don't
or
have it. No.
okay?
For me, watches have been like, I suppose, my houses, in the sense that I started off with a one-bedroom flat, I moved to a two-bedroom flat, I moved to a three-bedroom flat, and I've moved
Okay,
up.
gotcha.
I sold that watch to put towards my next watch, which was a Daytona, which had the chocolate face with the number dial and came with the crocodile leather strap, which I actually changed that to because you couldn't get the oyster flex, so I had to get a rubber B strap to put on it.
Okay.
And to be honest with you, it's funny, I don't know if you share the same, but as soon as you put anything fake on a watch, it just loses, in my opinion, that kind of everything that watch is. And so every time I would then wear that out, because I didn't like wearing it with a leather strap, because I find that I go to the gym a lot, I sweat, and if I'm in
Yeah.
water because I kite surf, it just wasn't very practical for me. So yeah, I replaced it with this fake rubber bead strap, and every time I put it on, I felt cheated. So I ended up selling that.
We share that. I am allergic to changing straps
Right.
with the exception, like I'll never do it long term, but for the right situation, I will put an aftermarket strap on, fully knowing that there's a time when it ends and that it goes back to its
Originally.
normal self. Yeah, one of my the show's like earlier sponsors, Everest, they're a competitor to Rubber B. I love
Right.
their stuff. And they have a quick change tool that you can buy, which actually makes it easy. So I'm not afraid to
Yeah.
change it. So that was really a match made in heaven there.
Is that you put the strap on and you put it wrong, you don't put one of the links in properly, then it falls off your watch and you lose your watch because of the fact that you've changed the strap, which would be catastrophic to say the least.
I'd be gutted.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I have a Blancpain 50 Fathoms and they hooked it up. When I bought it, they gave me the sail canvas strap and the rubber strap, and it started on rubber, and the first time I had to like take it in to someone to put on the sail canvas strap. I just didn't
Right.
trust myself. They also use hex bolts. They don't
Right.
use normal whatever the
Pinch. What are they?
pinch ones are, and so like that thing was like in there, and
Mm.
so I recently just changed it back to rubber for my first time. Admittedly, like I don't think rubber looks as good on that watch, but it wears so good. I have so many rubber strap watches now.
Yeah.
It's actually a pretty large percentage of my collection, and yeah, I'm there like on my like kitchen counter. I have all the lights on. I'm probably sweating trying to like
Yeah.
get the first hex bolt out just to not like mess with anything, but
Yeah.
it handles it very well. It
Yeah.
handles it.
Or you don't
Um
clamp it down and you kind of go for the screw and then you flick the screw up and then it puts a massive scratch across it or what have you.
right. Well, okay, so I'm getting the element here
Mm.
where you're not afraid to upgrade and evolve your watches, even though getting one for being a top biller
Mm.
at club
Mm.
is pretty spectacular. I feel like most people would like want to hold that thing forever.
Yeah.
I'm also saying that because Dan, if you are listening to this
I hope
and
you've still
you
got that watch.
sell the watch that I gave you money for, I will find you and I will harm you. I'm kidding. I can't actually put that on. There's a limit to what I will not say on this show. I haven't found it just yet, but I think I was just pushing a boundary. Well, let me ask you, Ollie, you're in London, correct?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
Brighton, close to
Brighton.
45 minutes outside.
Okay. Gotcha. Let me ask, I'm actually going to London on a little vacation
Mm.
in December, and I see a lot of stuff online that like it's unsafe to have a nice watch in London. There's like a lot of theft. As someone who like that's like what I see content wise,
Yeah.
I actually just don't know how true that is. So as someone who lives around the area, what's
Yeah.
your honest take, and like, any advice for someone like me or anyone who's going to be traveling
Yeah.
to England?
It's really sad. It is really sad. I would say it is as bad as, if not worse, than how you've just described it. Me and my wife were sat in a restaurant. in a nice part of London in Berkeley Square, and we were sat down having dinner. My wife, it was our anniversary. We were nicely dressed. I had my watch on. My wife had a nice handbag or what have you, and she had a nice watch on. And we were obviously enjoying ourselves. It being the anniversary, and the waiter came over to us at the end of it and said, "Where are you staying?" And we said, "Oh, we're staying at this hotel." And he goes, "How are you getting there?" I said, "Oh, it's only a 2-minute walk. We were going to walk." And he actually said, "Would you like me to? I see you've both got nice clothes and you've got nice items on you. Would you like us to get you a taxi?" So that it's that bad. I've had one of my friends jumped. Unlucky for them, he's into his mixed martial arts, so he fought back just as much as he gave, but he still ended up losing his watch. So yeah, it's bad, and because of that, the insurance premiums are driving up. Again, the cost of the watches is now coming down ever so slowly. I think it's stabilized. I don't know what your opinion is on that, but definitely kind of like the Rolex market. I think there's a bit stable now, whereas it obviously dropped. So when you've got depreciating asset and you've got insurances going up, as a person that enjoys collecting, kind of now makes it, you've got to really enjoy collecting in order to continue to collect, because it's not an appreciating asset. So yeah, don't wear your watch. If you do wear your watch, make sure you're going from one bar to another.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, is it like specific brands that get extra attention? Is like any watch not something that you'd recommend, or can you get away with something that's understated?
Yeah, I think you get away with understated stuff. You could wear your watches which aren't obvious. Like I think Rolex are an obvious brand. Patek are probably an obvious brand. AP, all of those ends. I think, but again, they know what they're going after, and some people are, and some thieves are going out to order. They're going to find watches to order, which I think is crazy. I actually made this was about 6 months ago. I went to London. I had my watch on, and I got onto a train, and I was walking down the train, and there was these group of guys walking towards me, and I saw one of them. I think you are extra cautious as well, and so you're constantly thinking about it. And I think my jacket or whatever jumper was over my watch, and so it was out. And he looked down. I saw him look down, and I carried on walking. And then I looked over my left hand shoulder, and they turned around, and I could see them talking. And whether they were, or whether this was just me going into,
A little, yeah.
just being a bit, panicky for whatever reason. But in the end, I waited till the next stop, and I waited for the last minute. Doors had opened, and just before they closed, I jumped off the train before my own stop to wait to get onto the next train. That's how cautious or nervous I was feeling around even just that one experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it probably pays to be a little extra paranoid.
100%.
No matter where you are either. I mean, living in Atlanta, I have yet to really hear a story of just like in-person robbery. And of course, unfortunately, there's home break-ins, and that's its own special flavor of messed up. But yeah, okay, I'm gonna.
Yeah. So yeah, unfortunately, yeah, it's not really the place to wear nice watches. And it's always funny because I'll always, when my clients or anybody comes over from the US and I always see them wearing it, I'll always give them the advice of be careful, be cautious.
Yeah, you have to.
Sad.
No, I mean it is. It really is. And I actually I follow a couple of really interesting watch dealers on like Bond Street and stuff. One of them, a guy named Oscar,
Right.
that guy's cool. What's another one? Kettlebell Kids, I think. Kettle Kids, something like
Kettle
that.
Club. Is it the Kettle Club?
Yeah, Kettle Club. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Yeah. And like
there's lots of watches. You've got Hatton Gardens is kind of the watch district. Obviously, it's a diamond district, but it's like who is it, Moses? What's that district in New York? The
oh
district?
right. Cap and I talked a little bit about it was like 47th Street or something
47th
like that.
Street. It's full of it.
Yeah.
Our equivalent is Hatton Gardens in London. And so, there's lots of money around, there's lots of watches around, but yeah, it still exists, which is really sad.
We will be cautious, I promise.
Be cautious.
Yeah. Yeah, the good shit's staying at home.
The thing is, it's where ones which can be replaced, but as we know, there's some watches like my granddad's watch. that, you know, you're never going to replace that. It's got too much sentimental value, and anything an insurance company is never going to replace that, are they? So that wouldn't necessarily be a choice of watch. But, you know, if I was just to go for a black face Submariner, it was still, it can be replaced. And are you really going to know?
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, my least expensive watch is the very first one that I got, and I would be gutted completely if I ever lost that thing.
Yeah.
I'm curious, when it does come to like when you are thinking about possibly adding to your collection, do you tie a goal to it, you know, professionally or personally, or is it one of those things where it's like you've kind of lock on to what you want and then you wait for the right moment to like spring?
I think so. Again, you know, I've shown these two pieces. I wear them a lot. You know, I like them a lot. They're great watches. Would I sell them tomorrow eventually to get, if the right opportunity came up for the right watch, such as an RM, there could possibly be an option. So I think for me, as I said, it is a matter of upgrading and kind of keep moving up for when I purchase my next watch.
Gotcha.
As I said, you know, I don't know. It's funny. I don't know if you share the same with this, which is when I go back to that Submariner, the bluesy that I had, I thought I'd completed the game when I got that watch. You know, it was like, oh my God, I got this watch. Look at it. It's amazing. It's great. And then having had that, that was what, entry 5-6 grand pounds. And then I looked at the Daytona. And so then I was like, oh, I really like that watch. And then I think at the time I'd paid like 13-14 grand for that, which is mental to think of the prices of them now. And so I was like, oh, do I love this watch enough, or would I trade this to get to that watch? And so I had a good commission check, and I thought, oh, do you know what? Now's the time to buy that. It's a good investment. You could see it going up in value, or at least that's how I communicate it to my wife anyway. And so I think, you
Right.
know, there is a progression stage for me, but I don't know. Do I love the Nautilus enough to trade in, say, 4 watches to get to it? I don't know. And so, yeah.
Okay.
I think I've
Okay.
got
And
to come
wait.
into a big lump of money to think to myself, do you know what? Now's the right time. Unfortunately, I've got 2 young kids. We're all going through private school. And so the shift of importance, you know, where I
Right.
should be spending my money.
Right. Ugh. Kids just dragging you down.
100%.
Holding you
100%.
back. Holding
Exactly.
you back. But wait, taking a step back, did you say RM might be that?
No,
Like
no, no. So again,
Patek?
that,
A mad.
you know, you know, yeah, I don't know. But do I like the RM enough? I don't know if I. See, again, help me understand this, Seth, is that the way I see the RM, and I've read a lot about it, it's more a bragging right watch more than it is a, you know, I don't know if I'm, you know, please, I'm probably gonna get shot down in all the comment section on your podcast, but is it a bragging watch? And so you buy an RM because I've got this, look how expensive it is. Because do they look that great? I don't know.
I mean, there's got to be an element of that because they're just so exclusive in their own right. They are technical masterpieces, and they have a lot of celebrities, race car drivers who, you know, they're not sponsored, but I think they just choose to wear them.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I mean, I've been lucky enough to try on a
yeah,
few. None of them have ever like really spoken to me. You know, like when Harry Potter's in the wand store and he gets his and like the lights change and it's like magical. I have
yeah,
felt that with watches. I've never
yeah.
felt that with an RM,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as I said, you know, I look at them. Do I look at them and think, oh my God, that's a beautiful watch? You know, look at it, you know, I don't get that. But as I said, go back to the Nautilus, for example. I look at that watch and think that's a great watch.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I think as I said, my dream watch would be that. But again, it's like anything. You get to that echelon of, you know, of watches, and then, you know, like you do with cars and houses, do you then say, okay, is there another level above that I should be thinking about? And I suppose there's nothing wrong with having the
Right.
ambition to keep pushing and going and higher, getting higher and higher. But
Right.
when does it become enough to say, come on, you've got to a certain level, be happy with that level?
Right. Well, maybe the greatest trick is finding a way to stop thinking about level, or at least associating level with like brand or cost and just focusing it on, okay, what's the actual next thing that I do want to wear or have in my collection for you, right? Because there is no end to it, because then like you'll go and get a Patek, and then you'll go see Zuckerberg's latest interview where he's wearing a one of one Grubel 4C, and you're like, "Ah, you know what? New level unlocked. It's got to be that one. It's got to be that one."
You asked me the question, if I had a dream watch, what would be that, or add another watch to add to the collection? I think, to have a Patek Philippe generally would be it's something amazing. I actually personally think they're one of the best brands out there, if not the best brand out there.
I'm such a fan of Patek Philippe. I love the Aquanauts.
Yeah,
Talking about a good rubber strap.
that's a great, yeah.
Ugh, so good, so good. You used to have one,
I did, yeah,
right? You did.
yeah,
In
yeah.
your rose gold and chocolate brown. It was
No, I didn't. So I don't know where that one came from. So
okay.
mine was it was a silver and black strap.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I do love that rose gold. But again, because I am a rose gold dark faced leather, I was wearing that watch and I was like, do I really love this? Is this my colorway? And I didn't. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't enjoy wearing it with what I wore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it
What's
didn't.
of your watches? What is your wife's favorite that she likes you to wear?
Great question. I think it comes back to my granddad's watch, because I think that it's tying sentimental value to it. It is a very understated watch. It's small, it's understated. It had the character. It obviously doesn't have as much character, but still to me it ties that. So yeah, I think definitely my granddad's watch, the Datejust.
Where it all started, right?
Where it all started.
Where there were no where
Exactly. Exactly. Am I wrong to think like that? Will people? What's your view on? Do you think that's a common thing where people look at watches as levels of achievement, as personal, points of satisfaction, getting that sense of achievement out of them? Do you have that?
yes, and all of the above. It just depends on the collector, I
Right.
would say. I think it just depends, and how your tastes change over time.
Right.
But absolutely, some people, it's like they continually will kind of like spend up and up and up. I think there is a common thread with a lot of people I know where there's kind of always a next watch in sight, and like
Yeah.
often it is harder to get, maybe more expensive than the last one.
Yeah.
For me, it's definitely been this up down journey to some extent, but what I have found is almost like music. You hear a band for the first time and you're like, I don't know if I like that. 2
Yeah.
years later, you go back to them and you're like, wait, this is some great shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why did I not like this originally? I love it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's like watches for me.
Yeah.
And AP is that's like the ultimate example. When I started collecting, I had no interest in them whatsoever. And there's still a lot of models, some of the Royal Oak offshores, some of the Code 1115s
Love them.
that
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, not at all. And then it just took some time and I kind of revisited. I had an engineering manager from AP on the show earlier on, actually, before I had any of the cool signage and shit. And that was a very, very fun episode for me. And that actually kickstarted me just looking back at the catalog and
Would you
finding some
sell
awesome
any of your
watches.
watches to get another watch?
No,
No.
I have never sold a watch, and I don't know if I ever will. Which is now I'm reaching this part where it's a balance. I don't want to have too many because I like giving them love. I actually have like a Monday through Sunday, like
Right, okay.
I just literally like day by day. I'm like, oh, this is my Wednesday watch. But I knew you were a Rolex guy, so I subbed my Tuesday watch, which is my Blancpain for
Right.
my Wednesday watch. So just for you,
Thank you.
Ollie,
Appreciate that.
just for you.
Appreciate that.
But yeah, I'm like, the next watch that I buy, it could be soon. It could be in a couple years. I've actually tied it directly to Observe's success. So I'm not allowing myself to get another watch until we have a liquidity event.
And do you know what? When that event happens, it will be a very, very good day. And it's a great organization you work for. You got a great team behind you with Keith and Jeremy and Rob Burton. Yeah, I've got a lot of time for your crew.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's awesome. Well, let me ask you. I mean, and you've had some folks from Observe on Hunters and Unicorns. When I was interviewing, actually, I watched the Rob Watson episode, and I work with him every day. He's amazing.
Yeah, he's amazing.
And it was cool. It was cool to see that early on before really knowing the guy. But I kind of like got to know him through your show. I'm curious, maybe the shows or episodes you've done in the last year or so, is there like a favorite piece of advice or something that you picked up that you've now kind of repurposed or made your own?
Great question. Great question. I think one of the biggest lessons that I've learned across the whole podcast series that we've done, and one of the common themes throughout the reasons why lots of these people are successful, is that they've never chased money, they've never chased title, they've always chased the right mentor. And so the mentorship piece has always been a common theme through all of those leaders that have done really well. Many of them have taken even what would seem as demotions from, say, like a second line to a first line to follow the right leader, or in some cases go from a first line leader back to an IC because they've wanted to work with this person. And so I think that's a common theme, something that it exists across all of those individuals. I think mentorship and learning is the most important thing. Chasing titles is a waste. I think people rush their careers too quickly as well. And we speak about this a lot. How can you become a really strong first line leader if you haven't, been a strong seller for a good period of time, and not just in one organization, where you're selling into one persona, selling into lots of different organizations, lots of different areas of business, as well as lots of different technologies. And so, becoming a rounded person in any of your given disciplines of, software sales is really important. Yeah. I don't know. Does any of that resonate with you, Seth?
Everything you just said absolutely resonates. Yeah, it's so true. One of my earlier mentors, a guy by the name of Matt Slagle, he's over at Sigma right now. We met at New Relic. He was one of my VPs, and he liked to say, careers are long. Careers are long, right? And they are. Right. And so some people, they want to make these really fast jumps because, maybe they had an earlier time in their career where their progression was fast. And that was like certainly me, like early on in my career, starting at Salesforce, and then moving to New Relic. Like I did well, and I was rewarded and promoted for that many times, like very quickly. And now I've been in the same general role as a first line leader for several years. Yeah. I've kind of moved up in like the segments and stuff like that, but that I'm like in this spot where I'm like, okay, cool. And obviously, like, I do want to grow my career. Absolutely. I joined Observe to go and kind of take on a new flavor of first line, like building a region for the first time that never existed. 0 reps, 0 PG, 0 territory, 0 process in the place. And now it's like completely different from when I've joined. And like, I love being able to like take a step back and be like, look at what I got a chance to build and to keep building, and with and who I get to build it with. So yeah, man, careers are long, and I'm a big fan and like seeking mastery. Like there's always something you can work on and improve on incrementally. And so that's what I think just makes it so endlessly fun.
I think where you've been, if you look at the strength of what your seat is now, is that you've done that first line leadership role in different environments, right? So, the choices that you create yourself now, you've got far more choices than somebody that's just come up through the ranks in one organization, so one technology to one group of personas, right? Or a persona. And so, for you, early stage startups, as well as more larger established organizations, you can bring both of those together to say, okay, well, my next choice, And once I get to second line leadership, I now have a choice. And if you ever get to CRO, if you've got some lofty ambitions, then again, you've experienced it in both sets, in
Yeah.
both worlds.
Oh yeah. I've certainly got lofty ambitions, but CRO is not one of them.
And that
CRO is not one of them.
the sacrifice that these CROs work, I think, it's seen as a very, very, very glamorous job. And it comes with a lot of rewards, but the sacrifices that these CROs make to I suppose the companies that they're building, I think is truly commendable. It's kind of, so much time away from their families, from their social lives. I think, even like people like Mike Ernest, for example. I don't know how well you know him over at Wiz, but he's got a young family. Every time I'm speaking to him, he's in a different country or he's on a plane at the airport, ready to go somewhere else. And I think to myself, fair play to you. I couldn't do it. I think it's important that, you think about what's important to you. Somebody turned around to me and said, you get 18 summers with your children. And that was a real turning point for me to think to myself, okay, well, my oldest is 10, my youngest is 9, or just turning 9. I'm halfway through that journey already. And if I carry on at the pace that I'm carrying on and, spending as little time with them as I was, then before I know it, I'm going to blink and they're going to be gone.
I mean, it's so fair, and
We're getting quite
think
philosophical here now, Seth.
welcome to Watch the Tech. We meander, we find our way. Like, no one's cried yet. No one's cried yet on the show, but I'm hopeful it's probably coming in the next 6 episodes, and it's probably gonna be me. But no, you're so right, and like you have to really focus on what's most important to you in your life journey. We all have limited time, right, with how we choose to spend it.
I think you've got to be true to yourself around, what is it? What is the function that I, want to do? And what is it I really want to do? What's the saying? We don't work to live, we live to work. Or no, we don't live to work, we work to live. Whatever way around it is.
Depends on the day sometimes, I feel like, for which one you end up choosing. But yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But it is
I
that,
know it is. It is. And I know, unfortunately, our time does have to end at some point. I could definitely keep going on with you. That much is just certain. And I've so enjoyed having you here, Ollie. Let me end on this, though. Is there anything upcoming with Hunters and Unicorns that you'd like to share with my listeners and viewers?
Still doing lots of podcasts. So still continuing to focus on that. We've got some very, very exciting partnerships that we're about to announce with a very, very exciting VC, tier 1 VC, which is really exciting for us. But no, I think as an organization, we've very much moved away from IC recruitment now and solely focus on leadership. That's not to say we don't support ICs, but at the same time, leadership is definitely the route that we're now moving in. But yeah, still absolutely loving, what we do. Wouldn't change it for the world. We have no lofty ambitions to grow our business anymore. Me and Simon are very, very happy just doing what we do because it suits our lifestyle. But yeah, just want to thank you for inviting me on the show. It's been great getting to know you. And yeah, thanks to, all the audience, the people that do tune into our podcast. The support is amazing.
Awesome. Fantastic. Yeah, I can't thank you enough. This has been such a treat for me.
Absolute pleasure. Well, next time in the US, we're at AWS reInvent again this year. I don't know if you're going to be there. Maybe that's an opportunity for us to hook up and talk about it in a little bit more detail.
Okay. Yeah, there's a good chance I'll be there for sure. We'll part ways here. Definitely, you've got a new friend in me, and
appreciate it, man.
I'll see you out there. And thank you, everyone, too, who's gonna listen and watch this episode for Watch the Tech. Please like and subscribe if you do not already. And thank you so much.